And we could talk about some actual football here. Tuesday marking the second day of voluntary OTA workouts, not mandatory, and the first day that the media was on hand, as I mentioned. So let's pass along some of the most pertinent news that we were able to gather from today's OTA session. As expected, wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk, looking for a contract extension, not in attendance. This comes as a little bit of a surprise at that wide receiver spot because Jauan Jennings also not there. This has been a player who's been critical to the Niners culture, one of the team leaders, looked at as a player who grinds and is willing to get it out the mud. But he has not signed his restricted free agency tender yet, and this could be an indication that he is looking for a long-term deal. At this point, though, Jauan Jennings is not able to sign with another team in the National Football League. That time period has passed. The 49ers had put that second-round tender on him. So if a team earlier on in free agency wanted to sign him, they'd have to give him a new deal and surrender a second-round pick. It goes to show you how much the Niners value him. We'll see if a long-term deal gets done for Jauan Jennings, in addition to his fellow wide receiver in Brandon Aiyuk. Of note, Nick Bosa was at OTAs. Usually Nick Bosa is not a player who attends something like this early in the offseason because a lot of star players were not at OTAs today and they haven't attended these in the past. But I think this is a great sign. Nick Bosa understands I'm one of the faces of the franchise. Last year I signed the richest contract in the history of the NFL for a non-quarterback. It's my job to be there, and now I can set an example for everybody else. This is also a team captain, a team leader who does everything the right way as far as being prepared and honing in on his craft, and he's the player who gives the Niners team speeches on the Saturday night before they take the field on Sundays in the fall during the season. So for him to be there, it's setting an example, it's setting the standard for all of the young players who are either trying to make a name for themselves, who are trying to improve, trying to make this roster. Also there, Javon Hargrave and Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel not only at OTAs, another player like Nick Bosa, who in the past has skipped out on these voluntary workouts. It's not the end of the world if these players don't go, but I always think it's a good thing. Deebo Samuel looked to be in good shape by all accounts, and he's wearing that new number 1, making the shift from 19, and naturally he looks a little bit slimmer. Could Deebo Samuel put in one of the best seasons that he's had in his NFL career? And if he does have a highly productive season, could that rival what he did in 2021 when he was a first-team All-Pro? That would be great and do wonders for this Niners offense. Also not there, and these are notable names here, Trent Williams. At this point, when you're in your mid-30s and you're still the best left tackle in the game, I don't think that you have to be at OTAs. Charvarius Ward is coming off a core muscle surgery. Dre Greenlaw, also not there. He continues to recover from that torn Achilles that he suffered in the Super Bowl. Jake Brendel, according to head coach Kyle Shanahan, missing OTAs because of knee arthritis, knee tendonitis. That's not good considering some of the questions that the Niners have along the offensive line. And then Talanoa Hufanga working on the side field in his recovery from a torn ACL. That is a good sign that Talanoa Hufanga is there and he's at least doing something on the side. That means that the recovery is coming along nicely. Good news for Ricky Pearsall here. Without Brandon Aiyuk, without Jauan Jennings, this puts Ricky Pearsall kind of at the front of the line to get more snaps, more reps, more opportunities, and perhaps some first-string opportunities. With Brock Purdy, who is complimentary of how Ricky Pearsall has approached the early going of his rookie campaign. And Kyle Shanahan is a former wide receiver. We know that he's hard on wide receivers in their development. He nitpicks a little bit because he knows what it takes for those players to become really good players and contributors at the NFL level. Also in this offense, there are so many nuances given the complexities of this offensive scheme that wide receivers have to master. Route running, where to be, blocking for your teammates. So without Aiyuk, without Jauan Jennings, it's just more opportunities for Ricky Pearsall to get his feet wet. And I'm excited to see what he can do. Had a couple of big plays in the pass game. Grant Cohn with his recap saying that Ricky Pearsall beat Ambry Thomas on a couple of occasions. It also appeared, according to my guy Larry Krueger, that Brandon Allen was getting quarterback 2 reps ahead of Josh Dobbs. Now, Brandon Allen, this is his second year in the system. Josh Dobbs was signed in free agency. We'll see how this plays out throughout the course of the offseason, OTAs, mandatory minicamp, as well as training camp. Also not there, Christian McCaffrey. And a lot of people have talked about Christian McCaffrey being a player who always goes 100% in practices and in drills, setting an example for his teammates. Kyle Shanahan not sure why Christian McCaffrey is not there, but again, voluntary workouts.